Halloween Kills is the brand new horror film, third film canon-wise in this Halloween trilogy. First, Halloween 1978, directed by John Carpenter, and then the reboot, which turned out to be a direct sequel to that film, disregarding the rest of the films in the franchise. Halloween 2018 was directed by David Gordon Green, and Gordon Green, his writing staff, producing staff are all back for this film. The film stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andy Matichak, many, many more. Will Patton, Thomas Mann, Robert Longstreet, Anthony Michael Hall, just so many people are in this movie. The film is about really minutes after the ending of the Halloween 2018 film. Laurie is taken to the hospital with her, her granddaughter and her daughter with her. And as Laurie is trying to recover in the hospital, Michael is actually not dead, burnt up in that fire at the end of the first one. He is now killing so many people and causing havoc in this town. And characters from the first movie are back, who also want revenge for what happened 40 years prior. The film's an hour 46, is rated R, and is available both in theaters and on Peacock. My name is Matt Sonnenberg. Welcome back to a brand new movie review. We're talking Halloween Kills, really the main Halloween film of this Halloween season. So please consider subscribing, ringing the bell if you're new to the channel. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show every single Monday. So please subscribe, ring the bell. Also, if you're new to the channel, comment down below your thoughts. First of all, if you've seen Halloween Kills, rank for me the three films to 1978, 2018, and then Halloween Kills. And let me know if you like this film, didn't like the film, do you agree with critics, don't agree with critics. Also, if you have not seen the film, tell me, are you going to check this one out? Have you seen the previous two? Tell me your excitement level, and please like the video, guys. That's how you support this channel the best. The thumbs up button, that's how you do it. So let's talk Halloween Kills. So I was very excited for this movie. Obviously, the first film in 1978 by John Carpenter is a real classic. I don't really like any of the sequels. They did, the mini reboot, but it's a sequel to that film in 2018, where they basically said, the rest of the franchise, they're all not canon. We're just doing a direct sequel to the events 40 years prior. And I actually really like that movie more than most people. I gave like a 3.5, I think a 4 out of the theater, 3.5 on rewatches. I actually just rewatched Halloween 2018 on Tuesday to get you ready for it. It will help you if you do at least watch the last film, the 2018 film, because the events of this film take place minutes and maybe a day at the maximum by the end of the film after the events of the first film. There's no 3-year gap. There's no 4-year gap. This film takes place literally minutes. The opening, once you get past the cold open, really is the opening 25, 30 minutes of the movie is minutes after the house is burned down and Jamie Lee Curtis is in that truck on the way to the hospital. So let's talk about my positives. I was really excited for this movie. I do love this franchise. I love Michael Myers. I love Laurie Strode. It's really cool that they're filming this Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends back to back. So the next one will be coming out next year. But let's talk about my positives, my negatives, and then I'll give you my score. The biggest positive for me with this movie is Michael Myers himself. When he is on screen, this movie has a lot of intensity, has actually, I think more violent kills than the last film. The way he moves, again, it's a dual performance of the Shape, or Michael Myers himself, played by James Jude Courtney and then Nick Castle as well. They both do a fantastic job performing as Michael Myers. The way he moves, obviously the look, but just the intensity of these kills. They do give you a little bit of background on most of the people that he kills. If he's back at his old house, or he's just walking around killing people, you kind of get a feel just like the last one. They give you like maybe a one scene that gives you either you kind of like the characters who he's about to kill or not like the characters he's about to kill. This old couple who's in a house who you saw in the trailer, they were really funny. Easily one of my favorite scenes, maybe my favorite scene of the entire film. But Michael is just such a fascinating character because yes, while he's like a boogeyman who yes gets shot at and is in that fire, he can't die per se at the moment, but he's also a real person at the same time. And the balance of people understanding that is tough because there's a lot of people in this movie. This movie's main themes is that this town, I think it's called Haddonfield, this is the first time in a long time in this franchise that it was like the town finally like rejuvenated, comes together in this movie to kill Michael. And that I really, really like as well. That idea is really well done. Again, all the actors, I think Judy Greer probably gets the biggest bump in any of the characters from the last movie. She's like possibly the main character of this movie. And I'll talk about why. If you're here for Jamie Lee Curtis, she really is not in the movie that much. She's really in the hospital for the entire film. And they're kind of really building up to this also. Actually, I'll wait to get to my negatives. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis, when she's in the hospital, she's talking. Jamie Lee Curtis is fantastic in this movie. It's just one of the more disappointing entries for Laurie's character in any Halloween film up to this point. She was very underwhelming and just felt very useless in this movie. Just to have her put in the trailers. When you actually watch the movie, you see how kind of, now she goes something in this movie which I really love, and that's the fact that Laurie's trying to figure out, did Michael obviously was in the last film, did not drive himself to Laurie's house, but Laurie believes that Michael's doing all of this just to get to Laurie, and Laurie's trying to realize, actually, it's because he's just killing people. The doctor actually took him to her house in the last film, all these different things. And Laurie's trying to realize that it's really just not about her, what Michael's doing. Obviously, they had a meetup, and obviously them two is obviously what we all want to see. But Laurie's understanding that it's more than just Laurie versus Michael. Michael's killing so many people, and he doesn't really care about Laurie that much, honestly. And that realization, plot-wise, I thought was really well resonated. The kills are really fun in this movie. Once again, John Carpenter does come back to do the score for this film with his son and one other person. The score is just as fantastic as the last two films, of course. Very known for their scores, and the Halloween, different ways to use the Halloween theme throughout this film. Also just really, really well done. The kills are really fun to watch. And most of the characters, I think the granddaughter really is fantastic. While she doesn't really get really that much screen time in this movie, when she's on screen, she's one of the more badass characters in this entire film. And you can buy that she's actually Laurie Strode's granddaughter, which I think is a huge plus with this film. I want to move into my negatives because I do want to say, sadly, I am on the negative with this film. I did not like this movie. And I know I don't hate this movie. I think it's a very watchable film that has some fun kills. But from a plot point of view and really from a dialogue point of view, this film is really not good. And I was really disappointed with the dialogue in this film. There's like a phrase that all of the people in the town say. It is really annoying. And there are so many characters that are even back from the first film that are really annoying. This movie is really cheesy. And I know the first film, I know you can say it's a cheesy franchise, and at times it obviously is. It's a slasher horror film. There's going to be some cheese in the film, but this film felt overly cheesy. There's some dialogue. There's some parts where characters are just going to, there's literally a scene where a character from the past film gets on stage and describes to you what one of my other biggest problems with the film, and I'll get to that scene in just a bit, is the fact that the first 30 minutes of the film, and there's a large portions of this film that is just recapping the previous two films. And that is so annoying because most people who are going to see this movie have seen at least the last film. But this film beats you over the head that you haven't seen the last two films, but you have. And they're re-showing stuff, and there's so much exposition just recapping the last two films. It's so annoying because, now I get it, there's a lot of people out there who are just going to watch the movie for the very first time, and that might be necessary. But there's a lot of people, I mean, this is a huge horror franchise. There's a lot of people that at least saw the 2018 film, or even both the 2018 and the 1978 film. But this film spends way too much time recapping what happens in the last two films that it takes away screen time of an actual story in this movie, which is just so disappointing. As I said, the dialogue is cheesy. Anthony Michael Hall's character was so annoying in this movie. He plays Tommy Boyle, who plays one of the kids who was affected by the events. As a kid, he was in the very first Halloween film. His character says the cheesiest stuff in the entire movie. He makes really stupid mistakes that progresses the plot going. And he has a scene in like this talent show thing, and he brings all the old characters that are back from the very first movie 40 years ago, and he basically gives exposition. It's like a 10-minute scene where he just goes person to person, explains why they're here, why they are connected to the first movie with flashback scenes. It just doesn't work. And The granddaughter, who is played by Andy Matichek, who is, again, really great. Her boyfriend from the last film is back, and they're just back together without any conversations throughout the entire film about what happened the night before, which was that scene in the 2018 film that basically dumped him. And the film just feels like a setup film. That's why it's a disappointing movie for me. It's a extremely filler movie that doesn't want you to get Laurie versus Michael until the third movie, because they are not on screen really for the entire movie together. And I know a lot of people out there just want to see the two best characters in this franchise, which is Laurie Strode and Michael. And it's definitely my main issue with the movie. I'll just say it clearly. My main issue with the movie is that Michael, you have a clear villain who you want to see get destroyed, and that is Michael Myers. Clear villain. It's fun to watch him on screen. There's just no central hero who you're rooting for to go after Michael, because Laurie Strode is stuck in the hospital with the sheriff from the last movie. Judy Greer really becomes, I guess, the main character, but there's so many subplots of not just new characters that are just introduced into this film, but characters from not just 2018 film, but the 1978 film, and there's new characters. There's so much going on. There's not just one crucial central hero protagonist that you're rooting for the entire film, because there's just so many different people who want to kill Michael, but you're not really rooting for anyone. And that became my main issue with the movie. You have a villain who is so easy to, you want to see die, but because you have you're saving Jamie Lee Curtis really for the third movie, you've really halted with so many different characters that you're really not rooting for and don't feel like main character heroes. And that's where this film just, for me, just doesn't work. So I get people have fun with the movie. It's an easy film to have fun with. There's some really fun kills, but for someone who's really excited for this film, who really, I love the first film, obviously, really did have a good time with the second film, other than that major twist in that second one with the doctor. This film for me falls completely flat story-wise, dialogue-wise, other than really fun kills and solid performances across the board. The dialogue is not very good. The story isn't good. And it just feels like a setup movie for the third film, which is coming out next year. So I'm going to give Halloween Kills a 2 out of 5 stars. I'm going to give it a 43%. It's not an awful film. I was very close to average, but I was just really disappointed throughout this entire film watching how storyless it kind of feels at times, because I want a central hero. Even if Laurie is going to be sidelined, I still want a central hero going up against Michael, and you really just don't get that in this film. But it's a fast moving hour 46. It does really fly by. So that's my thoughts on Halloween Kills. Please like the video, subscribe, ring the bell. More reviews coming down the line. We'll also see how Halloween Kills does at the box office very, very soon. You'll see my other movie reviews. Click that playlist. I'll see you guys soon.